Welcome to Rootstem Gaming, and this is how to paint a Riptide. Start by making sure that all the pieces are separate from each other for the base spraying. Some of these will be sprayed black, some of these will be sprayed white. But to begin with, I spray everything black. This is so we can achieve the greying white effect later. After masking off certain areas I wanted to remain black, nearly all the components were then sprayed with white, making sure to concentrate on the higher areas. Then I sprayed the entirety with 2 coats of Mecha varnish from Vallejo. Dry, I then use a thinned down null oil wash and dip into the recesses. This then actually flows into the edges, allowing for an easier paint job. Dry again, I then dry brush all of the edges and components with white scar using a large Games Workshop dry brush. As you can see, this picks out the edges quite nicely on all of the figures, giving it a highlight even though we're highlighting white with white. Next I am going to use a wet blend of Dark Reaper, going up to various different greys in certain panels across the figure. This is part of what was required for the commission. The next stage of the wet blend was to add Mechanicus Standard Grey and slowly build up the layers. The final wet blend was using Aministratum Grey on the edges, just to try and pick out any edge highlights. Sections I started by painting Retributor armour over the black. I simply dry brushed a little bit of Dark Reaper followed by Aministratum Grey onto the edges. using a sponge, I dabbed bits and little flecks of Mechanicus Standard Grey on the edges of the armour. This is to give it a slightly weather-beaten look. Started to paint the rockets with Mechanicus Standard Grey, just so that I could highlight and give them a fresher look of white. This was then Corax white on top, once the Mechanicus Standard Grey had dried, and then on top of that I then used Skull white. The head was painted first with Rhinox Hide and then just small amounts of dry brushing using Khorne Red to achieve the effect. I cut all the gold pieces with Carroburg Crimson Wash. Once dry, I dry brush the edges with Necron Compound Dry paint. Now, using an airbrush, I then airbrushed Teclis Blue in building up stages into the plasma coils to give it a blue glow. I would then later add white and then just use pure white to this to give it an internal shine. Once again, I went back to Vallejo's Mecha Varnish to varnish the whole figure to give it a lovely sheen. And there you have it, a Riptide painted quite quickly using a couple of different techniques such as wet palette and airbrush and lots of spray cans. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Please like, share, subscribe, hitting that notification button for more.